kept their ear for French and ear for English here, I will ask that you permit me to give this goodwill message. I'll be very slow in presenting it in English. I bring you greetings from the Institute for African Culture. By the way, I have it in French, but I will transmit it to my friend. I told him that I will read it in French, but I told you, as I mentioned, unfortunately, SK Airlines left my other tongue in the baggage. The Institute for African Culture and International Understanding, that is based in the Okebukola Presidential Library in Okebukola, was established as a UNESCO Category 2 Institute 4 years before CERAV AFRIQUE. So we are the older brother of CERAV AFRIQUE. By the time we were established, the Director General of UNESCO, when he came to inaugurate us, requested that we focus on a number of things, especially the UNESCO 2005 Convention for the protection, promotion of the diversity of cultural expressions. And we're given the mandate to spread our wings over the whole of Africa. And we took steps from that time to do a number of things, to get many African governments to ratify the convention. And we wrote to governments, the presidents of Africa. We also used President Olusegun Obasanjo, who has asked, and I bring his special greetings to you at this regional workshop, to use his regional connections. And we're happy to note that on account of the actions that we took, among others, many more African countries were able to ratify the 2005 convention. We decided to have, based on the advice of UNESCO, have country offices. We have a country office in Kenya, we have one in Mozambique, and then one in Nigeria. We are about now scaling up to 8 African countries. I'm happy to let you know that the coordinator of our Mozambique office is one African who, in my view, is about the best in the area of culture, about the best in the area of scholarship in culture, about the best in the area of practice in culture, Professor Lukwishi Muyamba, who is here with us. We were able to do a lot of mapping. We focused at that time on dance, on dress, on language, and we were able to do a mapping almost across Africa, but mainly in the countries that we have on these areas. I'm also happy to let you know that our institute is now been selected as one that will host the e-platform for all Category 2 institutes in the world and all UNESCO chairs. We are very delighted about this, and in November of this year, shortly after the UNESCO General Conference, there will be a global launch of that e-platform in Paris. As I close, we want to let you know that we will be working in partnership with CERAV AFRIQUE. Indeed, we have a vision that in the next 10 years, Africa will be the region where the 2005 UNESCO Convention on the Protection and Promotion of Diversity of Cultural Expressions will be the most visible. And we're going to be working with CERAV AFRIQUE to make that to happen. We have had a number of workshops, regional conferences, that Madam Michelle Chaba attended. I want to let Burkina Faso know. I want to let the participants at this workshop from 10 or more countries to know that this man, Michel, please stand up. This man is a huge resource to Africa. He's a very skilled man in the area of managing cultural affairs, cultural resources. If I had my way, I will appoint you. I'm the Minister of Culture of Burkina Faso is not here. I will appoint you Minister of... He's a friend of President Olusegun Obasanjo. I mean, they get along very well together. Anytime he comes to Abeokuta, he's hosted by President Obasanjo. So he has asked that I extend another invitation to you very soon to come to Abeokuta. We're happy to be here, and we look forward to greater partnership. Presidential Library. The Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library is the first presidential library in Africa. I invite you to come with me to Abeokuta as soon as this workshop is over. My colleague here has tickets for all of you, so that you can come over to see us in Abeokuta and be at our institute. Our institute was established as a Category 2 UNESCO Institute in 2007. As I stated yesterday, by 2008, we had started operations. My contribution for this session is on what we have been able to do in contributing to the implementation of the culture conventions. And I would think we've been able to put our leg in a number of the cultural conventions of UNESCO, and of course listening to dear brother and friend from ECOWAS. Our activities have also been rubbing up on the ECOWAS cultural convention activities. We are looking forward to partnering with you so that together we will get our efforts merged. In about 15 minutes, do I have 15 minutes? Okay, 15 minutes. I'm going to spend just 5 minutes and then ask my two colleagues here to intervene in five minutes each. As we sit here, I keep reflecting that we adults, in quotes now, older men and women, we are working towards implementing conventions that will last after we are gone. And for us in our institute, we recognize this, and we decided to focus our programs and projects on culture that will be on the youth of Africa. The youth, ladies and gentlemen, all these things we are talking about here, if you do not get the youth to understand and appreciate the cultural values and things we are talking about, it will be an exercise in futility. We'll just be spending money and the money will go down the drain. If we do not win the hearts of women that make up almost like about half of the population of Africa, then we're just, in quotes now, wasting our time. So what we have decided to do in our institute is that all our programs, all our projects, we ensure that we get the youth to be part of them. We don't organize any workshop or conference without bringing youth, primary school, secondary school, university people to be part of it. If not, we're just talking what I can call grammar here. At the end of the day, it will all go with us, dead with us. So Dr. Okebukola here is in charge of all our youth cultural programs. So he's going to spend 5 minutes, I'll spend 5 minutes. And Dr. Bikwa Kipotu there is in charge of our women program. The one idea, Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, is to ensure that the youth of Africa that do not like culture, that like they do not like African culture, They prefer culture from elsewhere. For them to be so, to be part of anything that we do. So they will tell you about that. So what have we done in the last couple of years? Our institute has contributed to the celebration of the International Year for the Rapprochement of Cultures. And we have made a documentary of about 5 to 7 minutes celebrating 10 regions or cultures in Africa. We have been able to do the mapping. You know, this thing about cultural protection, cultural promotion of diversities. So we'll be able to map, we have a map now, mapping of different cultural aspects in Africa. If, for instance, this kind of dress that the chairman is wearing, we'll be able to map the different regions in Africa that wear this kind of dress, or dance, or language, and so on. So we have done a lot in the area of mapping, protection, and promotion of different cultural components. We have also conducted regional advocacy for the ratification and domestication of the 2005 Convention by African member states. I mentioned this yesterday, and the table that our ECOWAS brother showed. We contributed in a lot of ways to pushing African governments to be part of the ratification and domestication. I have a list here which shows those countries just like the one that you have. We also have developed a database for African cultural diversity. So a database of the diverse materials, the art, the literature, lifestyles, value systems, traditions, and beliefs. We already have a database of that. So we have several publications which unfortunately we couldn't come along with. Of course they're in English, but we'll be willing to share this with you. And if you go to our website, you'll be able to see the different publications attending to these activities that I have mentioned. In fact, one of them is mapping cultural diversity, good practices from around Africa. We have also narrowed to the area of the environment. How do you protect and promote African cultural practices relating to the environment? I'll give an example. There is a forest in Nigeria, it's called Nishabi Forest. We'll be able to study it and see the African cultural practices that have helped to protect and to promote the diversity, the biodiversity that we have in that forest. One other angle that we focused on that Professor Buyamba mentioned yesterday has to do with indigenous knowledge systems. In this case, indigenous science and technology. I have some expertise in science, and the people of the West will say, oh yes, science is there. Science in Africa is mainly superstition, mainly taboos, mainly nothing that is Western. But science actually started from Africa. And we have several inventions, several activities in science that make Africa a lead region. But they are making us to forget. So our institute has taken it up as a charge to give visibility to how we map, promote, and preserve indigenous science and technology. You all note that, I'll give you a few examples. Bone setting, indigenous bone setting in Nigeria. When you break a bone and you go to a Western orthopedic hospital, they do their best, your bone may be okay. But in a number of instances, when the Western or Orthodox Western medicine has not been able to fix the bone, you take it to the indigenous bone setter. Within 3 days, you are up and running. So we'll study this, and we'll be able to project this, and to tell in fact, in many of the hospitals and medical colleges in Nigeria, our institute has been able to bring them together to be able to share experiences on how our indigenous science and technology can complement the Western science and technology to enable them, deliver better. So I visited one of these indigenous bone setters. I'm sure you are all aware, they are all in all these countries. What they did was, after the patient was discharged from the hospital and the bone could not be fixed, and went to the indigenous bone setter. I'm sure you have some indigenous bone setters in Ghana, in Burkina. Know what they did in Nigeria? Just took a fowl, a chicken, and broke the leg of the chicken. And as soon as the leg of the chicken healed, the person's leg healed. It is not juju, it's not magic, it's not anything, but some kind of science. And these are the things that we have been promoting. We also conducted a regional methodology workshop on how to implement the 2005 convention. I'm happy to know that also Ikuishi Muyamba, our coordinator for Mozambique, who is the chair of the mission here, president of Nigeria, was part of that methodology workshop that we held in March 2012. And we're able to devise all manner of instruments that will enable us to do that. We developed a framework for data collection, analysis, and presentation format for most that are most suitable for getting qualitative and quantitative information. We also developed a code of conduct for all field activities and a framework for synchronizing research things. I'm going to leave this work on the women because I'm ending now, so I can give the floor to Dr. Ibukun to share with us what we are doing with African youth, and then Dr. Vinkwe with what we are doing with the women and women in Africa. In 2013, we started actively this matter of bringing women in, and we held a regional summit. We have participants from Benin, Botswana, Denmark, Ghana, Kenya, Mozambique, Namibia, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, South Africa, and Uganda. We are honorable ministers of education, of culture from all these countries. And we had the youth of Africa, be represented, really well represented from several countries. And youth from Nigeria, from primary school. We bring them to be able to appreciate what culture is, because when we are gone, they are the people to take over. And then we will talk about the cultural competition that we have among schools. And then we have the last one I want to mention, is what we call the Living Human Treasures Program. There are several people in culture in Mozambique, in Kenya, Nigeria, Burkina, everywhere, that are giants in the area of culture, but they are fading off. 80-year-old, 90-year-old. So we are taking them to be our living human treasures, and we are documenting them so that generations, several hundred centuries from now, will benefit from the contribution. We've been able to make a tremendous impact in the region, that's Africa, and I would now like Ibukun to share with us.
What we achieved was to stir their interest in African culture. And then we took another step. We organized what we call the cultural competition for young people. We focused on indigenous drawings, indigenous cultural songs, indigenous forms of entertainment, but it was a competition. So they had to bring their best. Everybody had to represent its culture. And again, it was a very colorful, very engaging exercise. And so the focus as we move on to our next circle of agreement is to empower the young person department, because if we say, like my director has said, that we want to protect and promote, then we need the young people to be able to protect and to be able to promote. And so this is what we are doing. There is no program that we do, and I have witnessed that there is no program that we do not find a way to have the young people component. So this is the way we are going, and we are getting some very interesting, some very encouraging feedback. In fact, when we had one of those programs, and I was wearing the jacket like this, I had some of the young people come to then ask me that if we are telling them to protect and promote African culture, then we should also be dressing Africa. That, for instance, was an informal feedback that you would ordinarily not expect from a young person. So we also then want to encourage everybody here that whatever it is we do, and that's also what led to the Living Human Treasure program. It's a platform for intergenerational relationship between the custodians of African culture and the younger generation. And we are also looking at meeting these young people on the internet, so that they don't only have access to foreign cultural elements, but we are looking at how we can create forums where we can engage them online on issues relating to African culture. Thank you.
Nous croyons qu'il faut traiter les hommes et les femmes dans la manière équitable au travail, dans la vie, dans la société, la vie socio-politique aussi. Aussi, nous croyons qu'il faut donner aux femmes les moyens de participer pleinement à la vie économique et politique. Comme le CEDEAO, nous avons organisé beaucoup de programmes sur l'éducation de la paix. Nous avons organisé beaucoup de programmes sur l'extrémisme, les conflits, comment résoudre les conflits et tout ça. Merci beaucoup.
So you have had some snippets of what we are doing at Institute for African Culture and International Understanding. For me, I would ask a question. What are the next steps? The next steps are for, number one, for us not to work in isolation as an institute and have national country offices in a number of places, but to work together with civil society actors, with ECOWAS, with CERAV, AFRIQUE, and all of you here. So we are going to be developing some plan of action that will ensure that we involve as many members, as many participants of this workshop as possible. My sister, Aisha, who won the AMA Award for in Port Harcourt, she lost Port Harcourt so much. We're going to ensure that you're also part of our activities, especially those that concern mobilizing women and youth for culture. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.